What's up guys, it's your favorite Q coach. Welcome to another student before and after video. We got a professional golfer today. It's going to be a good one. Let's go do this thing. So welcome back to the channel guys. If you guys are new to Q Golf Japan, we do a bunch of videos like this every single week. So what you got to go do is hit that little red subscribe button, smash the like button, leave a comment, share the video, it really does help. And let's hop into the first part of this video. Alright guys, so today we're looking at Shohei Hasegai. He's a professional golfer here in Japan. He's played on the Asia Tour, the Step Up Tour. He's definitely played in some events on the JPGA Tour. And most recently he just played in QT where he made it to the final stage. He missed out on qualifying fully or getting full exempt status on the JPGA by a couple of strokes, which kind of sucks. But he does have some tournaments, probably about 5 to 6 tournaments I believe that he's qualified for on the JPGA Tour. And then after those 5 tournaments they kind of reshuffle. So hopefully if he plays well in those first 5 tournaments, he can continue to play on the JPGA. If not, he has full status on the Step Up Tour. But he's a great player, very, very talented. He came to us maybe about a year ago, so we kind of been working on his golf swing, trying to get rid of some of the kinks. So this particular video, we're going to kind of just give you an update to what we're currently working on with his golf swing, and hopefully show you guys maybe some points that you guys can take home with your own golf swing. So let's hop into the first part. Okay, so Shohei likes to play a little bit of a pull fade, right? So he's definitely in the fade model. But some of the big issues that we typically see with Shohei is going to be kind of starting with top of swing position. Now, if you take a look here and I kind of draw a line, you're going to see that between the legs, you don't really see any space. And if you take a look at the right of the screen, you're going to kind of see what I mean. You can now see some space. Now, what does that really mean? It means that he's getting a little bit more hip churn or a little bit more hip depth on the backswing. Whenever we see that Shohei can get a little bit more hip churn, it allows him to sequence the downswing better, and he's not going to get that early rotation, or he's not going to get the over rotation, which then leads to a lot of his swing issues. And let me kind of highlight that real quick. So if you take a look at the before swing, it's moving right here. You can see that in transition, right around position 5, he's already got basically the knee line or the hip line pretty parallel to the target line. And then from here, he starts to get a little over rotated. Let me erase some of these lines. If you take a look at his kind of right knee right here, you can see that the right knee starts to work out towards the golf ball. He gets a little stuck. He starts to kind of extend through here. And then as you see through the shot, he kind of stays in right side lateral bend a little bit too much. As he starts coming through the golf ball, you can kind of see on the other side, he starts to get a little bit of this chicken wing follow through, right? Because he's staying down in right side lateral bend for so long. And then as he kind of goes through the shot, then he starts getting to his finish, right? But ultimately, kind of the overall motion of this swing tends to produce a shot which actually draws. And because Shohei likes to hit a cut, he does not want to see a draw, let me tell you that, right? So if he's aiming left of the target line and then he draws it, that's a double cross, right? Which no cutter of the golf ball or even drawer of the golf ball wants to have a double cross, because that's going to be really tough for you to control, especially when you're playing for lots of money on the JPGA Tour, right? So that is why we always like to start out the lesson with Shohei trying to get the hips to churn a little bit more. We also try to get him a little bit taller at the top of the swing, right? A little bit less of this front bend at the top of the swing. And then you can also notice we like to get the arms a little bit higher with a little bit more depth. And you can really see that if you kind of take a look at the differences between these two top of swing positions. Now, some other big things that we typically notice with Shohei when he's starting to swing the club bad is if we draw this line up through the shoulder line, this line, it kind of resembles the hand path in transition. It kind of shows you where the hands are moving relative to this line. If we take a look at his swing, we can see that Shohei likes to get the hands working maybe a little bit too far outwards towards the golf ball around position 5. Now, here's why this is kind of an issue for him. Because he likes to get the low left finish and he really likes to get the chest on top of the golf ball, if he gets his hands too far outwards by position 5, he's actually going to have the potential of swiping across the golf ball or really getting the low point of the arc too far in front of the golf ball, which then for him starts messing around with his contact. He also starts messing around a little bit too much with his dynamic loft, and he really struggles to get his distance control out on the course, especially when he's playing in tournaments, right? So for Shohei, what we're always constantly working on, again, with transition with him, is making sure that we're not getting the hand path too far outwards towards the golf ball. And let's take a look at what we changed. So as you can see, the new position 5, it's a subtle little difference, but you can see that the hands are slightly more behind the sternum as opposed to with the old one. Now, what this is going to allow him to do, just like we said earlier, is if you can get the hands a little bit more this way, now you can feel like he gets that left shoulder lower from position 5 as opposed to starting to raise it. And you can also feel like his chest is much more on top of the golf ball. and he's able to kind of get this feeling of exiting low and left and covering the golf ball, we like to call it. And then he starts to see the shot that he likes, right? He starts to get kind of like a mid-flighted pull cut that ends up right back on target, right? And that's kind of his stock shot that he likes to play. Also, if we kind of zoom in on the hip line and the knee line, you're going to see that there's a massive difference between these two position fives. If you take a look at the after swing, we can see that the knee line is still closed to the target line as well as the hip line. And then obviously in the before, it's a little bit more on the neutral side to slightly open. Now there's a lot of tour players that are actually at position 5, either neutral or open at this position. Like I could give you Colin Morikawa, Dustin Johnson. A lot of the great players like to be more open at this model. But personally, I'm not a huge fan of that because again, whenever we start to see that over rotation look, whenever the hips are really open, the chest is kind of closed, we tend to start seeing players actually extending from those positions and they're not churning their chest as effectively, in my personal opinion, as they could through the impact zone. And you're really going to see that if we kind of go through before swing as he goes from impact. Let's just take it about position 9, right? You can see that he has an excessive amount of that right side lateral bend like we talked about earlier. He has a little bit of that chicken wing look. Now that he hasn't opened the hips so early, watch what happens as he starts coming through the golf ball. If we take him to that same position 9, we can see that he has a lot less of that right side lateral bend look through the ball. We can also see that the elbow is a lot less this motion and a little bit more this motion. And we can also see that the pelvic line is a lot more level at this position. So let me highlight that. So as you can see, the pelvis is a lot more level, which then means that I think the lumbar spine or the lower back is getting a lot more support through that impact zone, or really through where a lot of the, basically where a lot of the torque on your body can happen is kind of through that impact zone and just past. If you can have a little bit better pelvic line relative to spine tilt or axis tilt or lateral bend, that was a lot of those in a row, you're going to be a little bit more efficiently, I think, in terms of supporting the lumbar spine. So overall, in terms of what we work on with Shohei's golf swing constantly, like we said, top of swing position, making sure he gets a little bit more hip depth, a little bit bigger churn with the hips, making sure that the arms are a little bit higher and a little bit more with depth right there. And then in transition, we're constantly working on trying to make sure that he gets pelvic line, basically not opening up too early, as well as the hand path kind of dropping behind. And then from there, once he gets into that good position 5, he can start going low and left with his exit as a feel, with the chest more covering, and then he can kind of come out of right side lateral bend a little quicker. And then we really start seeing his long to short and his left to right dispersion start getting much, much tighter. So anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this student before and after. This is Shohei Hasegawa. Go check him out if you guys haven't already checked him out. He's a great player. We're hoping that he plays well this season. We're hoping the coronavirus goes away so he can start playing out there on tour. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys again next time.